Hey everyone, I'm Grant and welcome back to the channel. I am ignoring the diesel swap at the moment because I'm waiting on parts. So instead, I'm going to be working on replacing all of the springs on my TJ Wrangler with this secondhand set that I picked up this past weekend. Now these are a set of heavy duty springs by Moog, and I got them mostly because they were such a good deal. I only paid 80 bucks for all 4 springs. And the reason why I'm replacing my factory springs are they have over 200,000 miles. And now that I have the new hardtop from Bulldog installed on my TJ Wrangler, I thought it was a good idea to pick these up since they were so cheap. And I think they will help the ride quality on my Wrangler. So I am going to take a couple of quick measurements so I can have a before and after on the height. And then we're going to get to installing these. All right, I will fully admit that the way I'm going to be measuring this isn't really all that scientific, but it works. So I'm going to be measuring from the edge of the tire to the bottom of my fender flare. The front left wheel, it is 4.5 inches. On the front right, it's 4 5/8 of an inch. So the rear is 6 3/8. And the rear right is 6 1/8 of an inch. So yeah, the Wrangler's kind of not level, which again doesn't surprise me because the springs are so old. So I'm going to focus on replacing the front springs first, and then I'll get to doing the back springs. And I will fully admit, I haven't done this before, so this is going to be interesting. Oh, barely had enough room to take and get the wheel off the ground. I think the best way to do this is going to be to disconnect the sway bar and then disconnect the shock. And hopefully between those two things, the axle will drop low enough that we can replace this spring. Now, I'm doing this so I can relieve some of the tension here so I can remove this bolt more easily. Also, by doing this, it's going to be much easier to reassemble everything as well. Oh, I see what it's doing. There we go. Ching. Now the real trick is, are we going to be able to easily get it back on? Oh yeah. Now this is what I want. And the thought is, I'm going to lift this until this is about where I need it, and then I'll reinstall that. Pretty straightforward. It's definitely easier to remove the bottom bolt on the end link for the sway bar. But I'm now going to go around and do this on the other side. I'm not going to record it because it is a carbon copy of what I just did. So see you in a few. that wasn't too bad. So I think I can just So I have all of the springs replaced, and I've been kind of bouncing the vehicle. It's not the same as actually taking it out and driving it, so it will settle a little bit more. But here are the current measurements. So the first measurements were starting on the front left wheel was 4.5 inches. The front right wheel was 4 5/8 of an inch. The rear left wheel was 6 3/8 inches, and the rear right wheel was 6 1/8. So now we're going to remeasure it and see where everything is at. We are now at 5 inches on the front left. We are at 5 1/8 on the front right. On the back left, we are now at 6 7/8. And on the rear right, we are now 6 3/4. The Wrangler is now a 1/2 inch taller on all 4 corners. And that really is just because over time springs do fatigue. And the springs that I just took off of this have well over 200,000 miles. So again, it wasn't something I was really planning on doing, but those heavy duty springs came up and it was such a good deal and it was pretty close to me that I went ahead and bought them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do once I get my diesel swap running again. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.